we haven't left since. So
How long ago was that?
that was 12 years ago. Yeah,
Smart,
Right.
smart. And then you got kids.
I do. We just had our fifth.
What?
Yeah, she's 3 months old. So I got
Oh my gosh.
11, 8, 6, 11, 8, 6, a year and a half, and then my newborn. She's 3 months.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, let's grow the family,
Hey,
right? You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
You don't have a choice. You're a family man now.
Oh.
You're a dad.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wanted 6 or 7 kids. So
I wanted that many, and my wife after 2 said, "Dude,
Yeah,
the
understandable.
factory's closed." I was like, "What?" Yeah, I came out of a big Italian family,
Oh,
so.
yeah.
So, and then also, we're going to talk about, you train athletes. That's what you do.
that is what I do.
How did you end up in that? What happened that you went, I want to do this? I mean, looking at you, folks, you can see the dude's in shape, right? So, if I want to get in shape, I want some dude that's in shape to tell me how to get there, right? Not,
A lot of people, I generally speaking, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I don't necessarily agree 100% that, somebody needs to be in shape to get people in shape, but I understand that, and that would be extenuating circumstances, right? But generally speaking, yeah, you probably want to be with a trainer or a coach who does it or who's been around it enough to, that it shows in their actions and in the way that in their dealings every day and how they look and how they act and how they carry
Yeah.
themselves. So yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
there's a discipline.
Yes.
A huge discipline in people that really want to go someplace, whether it's the discipline of their physical body
Right.
or the discipline of their mind, right? And when they go, so there's a lot to it. And so how did you, at what point, I mean, you had to play sports,
Right.
right? So you weren't like on the chess team.
No, I played football, basketball, and baseball my whole life. I grew up. My dad taught us, karate. He's from Japan. So growing up with my brothers, we did that in the front yard, and competed a little bit. And then by the time I hit junior high, I was playing. As the seasons rolled, right? So it's football season, play football. As basketball comes, play basketball. When baseball comes, play baseball, and you just recycle. And that's how I do it with my kids now. So we're just gonna play the sports as the seasons come. As they get older, if they want to, say, hey, I only want to play this and this or whatever, then we can talk about that. But for now, play as many sports as you can.
Are you raising a little Bo Jackson? I
mean,
come
that'd
on,
be nice.
that was phenomenal.
Well, my oldest son, he's pretty small, so I'm hoping he's going to be like an Ozzie Smith.
Oh, I love Ozzie Smith.
That's
my second most favorite St. Louis Cardinal. I grew up in St. Louis, born in
yeah.
Brooklyn, but I grew up in St. My favorite all time is not Ozzie. I hate to say that. It's Bob Gibson.
Okay.
As a pitcher. He was a warrior on the mound. But yeah, Ozzie, what a gosh.
I grew up loving this. So Jose Canseco ruined my baseball career because I wanted to swing the bat like him, which was 100% not the right thing. Just dead pull hitter, right? So it was either foul ball, home run. Like it was. So my kids, I try to teach them not to be like me. So drive the ball up the middle. Let's go oppo. Let's play the game. So
just hit the thing.
Hit the thing.
Let the chips fall where they may, but hit the ball, right?
No, but so how I got started, I've always trained, with my friends or at the gym. But I had nephews who were just starting to, play football, Pop Warner, and sports. So me and my brother-in-law, obviously, training his kids, making sure they're working hard. And then it got to the point where they're in high school, and my older nephews, I didn't feel like they were getting the results that we had expected them to get. And so I was like, I'm not going to leave it into anyone else's hands. So we kind of just started doing our own thing in the garage. And then that led to friends wanting to come. Hey, you think your uncle will train me too? So started doing that just in the garage and for free. It was just whatever. And then COVID hit. And everybody was shutting down, and I had the opportunity to get into a facility So I went into the facility and we trained. We didn't shut down, and that really helped the business kind of build a little bit. And I still wasn't really charging at the time, but that's when I started charging a little bit. People started coming, and then that really blew it up. And I was like, oh, you know what? I think this is something maybe I should do. So then I started getting heavily involved in the recruiting aspect of it, which is a whole nother can of worms. But then I started training other sports. I didn't want to train girls at all. I was like, I don't ever want to train girls. I just didn't ever want there to be some type of problem, like you hear about things.
Yeah,
right? And I was like, I don't ever want to even have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, I had actually someone from out here, Maya Larson. She plays at Nevada right now. She's a softball player, and her dad asked me to start training her. So she was the first girl I trained, and I absolutely loved the trainer. And she brought a couple friends, and then I really got heavily involved in training a lot of the softball athletes out here. Well, I train athletes from every sport, but that got me really going, and I would rather, sorry boys, but I would rather train the girls. They got a little something extra in them. They just work for the most part.
You know what? It's that there used to be an old rental car commercial, Avis, I think it was, because Hertz was number one. They said, we're number two, we try harder, right? And I think there's something to be said for, once you think, I made it, it's like, what, now you don't have to work anymore?
Right.
You need to figure out how you made it. And there's something about somebody that has the drive, right, has the desire, right? And then, man, that they're fun to work with,
Yes.
right? Once it's like, okay, well, you got what you need. Now I'll tell you how to make it work, right? So that's got to be, yeah. You ever train any old guys?
I have, and I do. Yeah, I do. In the mornings, generally speaking, for the most part, I'm training younger athletes, college age down to 8 or 9 years old, some even younger. But I do have some older gentlemen and women that'll come train in the morning, and I just
gotta keep going.
Yeah, he's keep moving.
That's it.
Keep moving. But yeah, all ages, I train them all. But my meat and potatoes it's the athletes for sure that are currently playing. Now I consider, us older guys and girls athletes too. We're athletes. It's just a matter of tapping into it and bringing it back.
Well, I think about how we sometimes look at sports and it's like, well, are you training to be a pro, or are you training like for high school sports and that? But what about the guys and gals that they're on a softball league?
Yep.
They need training too, don't they?
Yeah,
if you want to be, because it's part of your health, right? Because people say, "Hey, come join this softball." One of my older brothers, he played softball till I thought, you really need to quit. But we grew up playing baseball. Right. Sun up to sun down, and he just couldn't get it out of his system. Oh, no. So he was like, "I'm playing, right?"
Oh, those guys who are really into softball. My father-in-law is, and he's older, and those guys. 2 knee replacements, hip replacement, and they're out there playing, and they just can't stop. So.
Well, I have a grandson, and he's always, when he talks about baseball players, he's always like, well, Grandpa, that guy's too old, right? I feel like he should go read the story about Nolan Ryan, who at 44 pitched his 7th no-hitter.
Right.
It's like...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't write them off because they got a little slower, a little older, man. Don't be like, yeah, we need all the young guys in there. And it's like, I don't think so. So what's the process if somebody said, hey, let's just take a high school kid, right? And he's very excited about multiple sports. So what's the process for that gentleman, or actually it could be a girl, right? But what's the process for them to come and find out what do I need to train, and et cetera, et cetera?
Right. So with me, I really try to focus on if they want to play ball at the next level and they play multiple sports, there comes a point in high school where you got to decide, like, I might have to give up one sport for one season or for the rest of high school to be able to develop the skills that I need to be better at this sport. I have a better chance at playing, right? So if I get a guy who's, 5'10", okay, and he plays football and he also plays basketball, right? In football, maybe he's a wide receiver, really quick and twitchy. In basketball, plays point guard, and he's good, right? The chances of him playing point guard in college at that height, where we live and where his skills are at, are very, very slim compared to the chances of a 5'10" being able to play receiver or defensive back at the next level, right? Because rosters in college hold 100+ athletes for football. Rosters in college for basketball, it's less than 20.
Wow.
Right? So you have, a numbers game and physical attributes that play a part, and that's where I come into play. And then sometimes it's things that some parents and kids don't want to hear. It's like, look, I know you love this game, and you love this game, but you think you want to be here, but the way I see it, and then I'll explain why and the reason behind it. Like, you have a better chance of, playing this sport if you do this and that. And obviously things have to develop and fall into place, and that's where recruiting comes in, and just being able to understand like what your best possible. I mean, that's a multiple sport athlete, and you try to steer them in the direction that's going to help them be successful, be able to have the opportunities. Options and opportunities is what I always tell them. We're trying to create options and opportunities. So if that's your goal to play college ball, let's figure out which sport is the one that's going to give you the most options and opportunities. So
I can see that. I mean, and you always read these stories like John Elway could have been a baseball pitcher,
right,
or he could have played football, and apparently he was a really good pitcher.
right.
But I wonder if situations like that, if that doesn't come into play, even though I'm a great pitcher, look how many there is.
Right.
Can I get picked up, doing that? And I think that is a key. If you're going to train that hard to be in something, you want to know that there's an end result there, right? And not everybody's a Spud Webb.
Right. Right. Well, yes.
So that can happen, but that's not the norm, right?
See, and that's what, and it's even harder for parents and kids to understand that these days, because everything, we have access to it like right at our fingertips, right? So we see things and stories where, like, well, if he did it, I can do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying there's not a possibility to do that, but it's very slim. And you have a higher probability if you do this, right?
Well, we hear these stories. They even made a movie about Kurt Warner.
Right.
Right? He's bagging groceries, and next thing he's playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Okay, guys, that's not normal.
Right.
I'm not telling you it can't happen, because it has.
Right.
But you might want to keep your feet on the ground. If it happens, it happens, right?
100%. That's, I think, especially in the business that I'm in, well, I think it's, obviously I feel like when you're in the type of business I am and you do what I do, you have to have confidence that you're good at what you do, right? And you got to get results. And results could be all kinds of different things. It could be confidence in the way that an athlete carries himself in life and in sports. Keeping themselves busy, staying out of trouble, their grades come up. Those are all, goals, right? Not everybody's training to be, a Division I college athlete. Now, if that's what you want, then you train for that. Understanding that there's possibilities of that and likelihood that that's not going to happen, but there's all these other different things that can happen from you dedicating yourself into training and to school and to your community and your family and taking care of business. Then you're going to have opportunities. And when I talk about options and opportunities, I know people think that I'm only talking about sports. And that's not what it is. It's just life. You learn to struggle through adversity, overcome these things in the weight room and in the turf work, all that stuff that we do, that leads to you more likely to overcome those struggles in the classroom, those struggles at work, those struggles in life. So that's where I feel like I am really good at what I do as a mentor. There's a reason why I have over 50 athletes right now in college, playing sports. And that reason is because of mindset and being around the right people, parents being bought in and doing everything they need to do to make sure their kids have, the opportunities to have opportunities, And I think when you're around that culture and you see it firsthand, and these kids come in and they see all the flags on the wall, and everybody that's in college playing ball, it becomes a reality. And if they can see that reality early, they have a higher chance of success, right? And success, like I said, it comes in many different ways. It doesn't it doesn't have to be that we're playing college ball. It can be that we kept this athlete, this kid, from going down the wrong path. And that could, all kinds of different paths, right? We kept that athlete busy. They learned how to work hard, played sports, had fun, and now they can move on with life, and be successful in life as a father.
Because you hear about athletes that, and it's unfortunately it became all too common where they had the skill set, but once they got in, even in pro ball, right? All of a sudden their life falls apart because they can't handle life.
Right.
And it's like you think about, an early 20s kid all of a sudden gets this big contract, right? But he doesn't have the life skills, right? And it's like, okay, well, I got all this money all of a sudden. Okay, well, character development and what it took to be an athlete,
right.
It'll take that to walk through life. And so, I can see how you're saying,
right.
I want to help the whole person,
right.
not just part of it, right?
Yeah.
So that the ones that are successful remain successful, right? Yeah, that's just good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So you were talking about training girls softball, right? So we've had teams in this area. This is phenomenal, and even in basketball, that gal Lauren, right?
Right. Oh gosh.
The record. Right here, and Chuck Smith, who was the editor, he's recently retired from the Appeal Democrat. You always hear the statement, "You can't get there from here." Right? You have to go somewhere else. And Chuck said that's not true about the Yuba Sutter area.
Right.
You can get there from here.
Right.
And so when you're getting these athletes that are coming in from our local school system, right? And you're so keenly aware. You go to Yuba City High and look at that board of all the kids that have made it in baseball that they have. There's like 30 names on there, right? And so you have to be so keenly aware of that. So when they come in, is that a confidence builder?
Right, it is. It's a confidence builder, and not only that, just like at my gym, when you see all the flags on the wall of where everyone's going, it's the same thing when you go to a high school, and you see all the players before you, all the athletes before you that went. Speaking of great teams, so when Sutter won state softball, right, that team, it's an anomaly. It's literally, I think every single girl starting on that squad and some of the bench players are or were in college playing ball.
Wow.
And you're talking at huge, all Division I, Division II, whatever schools, right? I don't think that'll ever, in our lifetime, it probably won't ever happen again. But that's how talented, that little tiny school right there, and look at how, literally, there's probably 12 girls from that team who are in college playing ball or were, and are a few of them are about to graduate right now. So, and then Sutter, again, just for an example, right? One of the boys that I trained, he's at Fresno State right now, went to Sutter, full ride, Auckland Asiata.
I knew him.
Yeah.
His parents, actually, he went to Mother Goose Preschool. His dad got picked up from Yuba College, played for the Bears.
That's right. Yeah.
And
he went to UNLV from Yuba College and then got drafted.
That was
by the Bears.
amazing, right? Yeah, and Jenna's been putting posts up, and I've got to see it, man.
Right.
Kudos to that young man.
Yes.
What hard worker.
Right.
That's a proud mama right there.
And his little brother, who's a junior right now.
Is he?
If you have a chance next year to go watch a game, he's a running back, and he's an absolute animal. And they both trained with me since junior high, so I know the family well, and I know the boys well, and that's Sutter High School. It's a small school, right? And they got a kid right now. They got a young man right now who's a junior, who's one of the top recruits in the nation, football player. Literally, he just committed to Cal, Troy Bowens, and I was fortunate enough to be able to train with him from when he was in 8th grade, 9th, and 10th, and then his uncle has been taking over, training him, getting him, within the family, and he's committed to Cal. This is Sutter.
Gosh,
high school,
I love
right?
it.
So yeah, small schools, big dreams, and if you put in that hard work, and obviously there's things, anomalies too, right? You have to meet certain requirements as far as measurables, physical attributes. That has a huge role to play in football, but he didn't have to go to a bigger school to get it.
No.
Neither of them did.
No, and those boys' dad was a big man.
Big man.
He was a big man. I remember he'd come walking in. I'd go, "What the?"
Right. What are they feeding
You
these
feel
guys?
like a midget when you're running. It's like, what?
Right. Well, so a lot of my family, my nieces and nephews, they're, half Tongan, half Samoan, or part Samoan. So I grew up around Polynesians my whole life, and man, yeah, the Polynesians definitely have some warrior blood in them.
Yeah.
There's some, talented, like they're really talented musically and athletically. They got a lot going in that culture.
So I want to, before we get out of here, I want to talk about. So you actually have built and are continuing to build the whole training facility at your home.
Oh my gosh, dream
so
come true.
I have to ask: do the little guys come out of the house and go out there and they want to be?
My little guys are out there. They've grown up around it. That's all they know,
Some kids have a swing set.
Right.
Your kids have got that's got to be crazy.
It's even when we were at the I trained out of my garage forever.
Yeah.
Then been in a facility here and there, NorCal. It was the last place I was at with Nabil. Gave me an opportunity. They do a lot of volleyball and basketball in there, but they had a gym area, and I got to go in there, and he gave me an opportunity to work in there, and it was good. But what I realized is I just need my own. And in that search of trying to find my own place, I realized how expensive it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let's just buy a property, and I can. So I was working for the state. I retired from the state, and I'm taking care of my two kids, my younger ones. So I'm a stay-at-home dad, right?
Good for you.
And but I work full time, obviously, and I have other things that I do. But yeah, that was a dream. Let's just do this. I can take care of the kids. We're right in our own backyard, and be close with the family, and provide a place where actually my kids' teams can come practice. So both my son's baseball teams and my daughter's softball team, they're practicing at my house.
Oh, that's
right
cool.
now. So that's what.
So you got a field?
I got it's like half the size of about half of a football field in my backyard of turf. So you can't run a full game.
No, but
you can set it up and use different types of balls, like sponge balls or whatever, if you want to run a game. But I got 2 batting cages, pitching machines, all that in a big area. I'm actually building a bullpen right now with 2 mounds.
Come on.
Yeah, so I'm all in. I figured next 20 years is, I'm having kids still. Well, hopefully we're done. But I already know this is what we do, right?
Yeah.
And it's a blessing with my family just to be able to go in my backyard, walk through that fence, see my whole gym, and then my kids just going back and forth and. Just having a blast.
So how fast can you set those pitching machines up to?
Oh, I honestly don't. I think it goes up to 90.
That's still 90 mile an hour. Yeah.
I'm not. I just have a hard time seeing the ball out of something like that if I can't.
Well, it just punches it out, right?
It punches it out. So if they had you've seen those older machines that have like an arm.
Yes.
Then you could time that. Or sometimes they have a light. It'll be like bing. And then you can kind of time that. But anything over like 80 miles an hour and it doesn't have any type of, mechanism for you to actually time it, man, that's like basically being 100 miles an hour ball as far as timing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what, the dream was, is to have my own place with my family right there, my own backyard, and no one to answer to but me,
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes being an entrepreneur, doing your own business, we need that.
Right.
We need that. Right. And then being able to apply what you know and yet continue to be learning, because you have to learn all the time.
All the time.
There's new stuff happening all the time.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a great opportunity. And for your kids to grow up in that, man, kudos to you and your wife. That's just an awesome way for kids. So I know you got 5, so we're going to believe for 12. What do you think? Is your wife listening to this? She might be saying, I go with that.
Nah, we're gonna
We're
be
done.
done. Yeah, I think I'm old enough. I started a little late, so
Oh yeah, you want to? Yeah, yeah.
it's-
I'm 97, but I've got a 5-year-old. Just
Right.
isn't right.
Right.
There's something not right about that. Right?
Nah.
Glad you brought your grandfather to Parent Day. Right?
That's what it's gonna be when I go to my kids' graduation for sure. But I'm okay with it. It is what it is. So,
Well, listen, Mitch, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. So, how do you have a web page?
I have so on Instagram it's grind_30. You can reach me on Instagram. That's mostly where most of my activities right there. You can reach me on Facebook, Michio Taakahashi. It's my personal page, but you can reach me there too. That's what I use. I don't really have a website or anything like that. So everything's done through Instagram, text message. It's basically been, all referral, and then
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's how.
When you're successful, people will automatically say, "Hey, I know this guy. I
Yeah.
know a guy."
Yeah, the community out here has been so good to me. I love it. And then when the people believe in you, then they take care of you.
Yeah.
I've had so much gifted, donated, equipment and all time and machines to help build my place. There's people out there who have, just been super generous in this community, and man, I appreciate you guys who have supported.
Yeah.
And everyone that continues to support. Man, it's such a blessing.
Mitch, I'm glad I met you. Thanks for coming on. I'm gonna have to come out and see the place
for
if you're
sure.
okay with that.
Oh, yeah, for
I'll
sure.
come out there and
Hit a couple balls.
huh?
We'll hit a few buckets of balls.
Yeah, you're gonna turn that machine down to 12 miles an hour and use that big yellow ball.
Yeah.
I think I can make that happen. All right, thanks again for coming on.
All right, I appreciate you, man.